Welcome. Welcome to the Iron Lord Podcast, episode number 21. And we've been away a while. It's good to be back at the round table. We got the Lords in the building, and we have a very special guest that I'm excited about. And this is a Lord that's been with us from the very beginning. You know, during the Destiny only phase of the ILP, you know, this Lord has given us tremendous support. He is an active founder of the Playback Gaming Network. You can catch him there and a lot of our ILP podcasts there. He's also an Ark creator. He's an avid Ark player, and a good friend of mine introduced to me through Lord Addict. My man, Lord Dizzy's in the building. How we doing, Lord Dizzy?
What's up, man? That's very flattering. Very flattering. It makes me feel good about myself. Like I'm doing it for the people.
For the people, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, man. Pleasure. Real quick before I move on to the rest of the Lords, I always wanted to ask Lord Dizzy this. How did the name Dizzy originate? I need the backstory.
All right. This is a very long story. Back in high school. All right. My last name
7 years ago.
My last name, way back in the day, used to be, or it still is, obviously, but my last name is Wayne, and a couple of friends, they used to call me Waynehead off of, I don't know if you remember the show, way back, Waynehead, and that's around the time where Snoop Dogg was doing the whole shizzle for rizzle, and it went from there to Wayne Dang to Wayne Diz, and it just like dropped off to Diz. So for a while I was going by Diz, and like even to this day, somebody will say Diz, and I just respond to it like I know what it is. One of my good friends, he kind of like extended a little bit more. He would be the one to call me Dizzy, and so that's just where Dizzy popped up. And my original name was Dizlanta.
I'm done.
I'm very connected with the city of Atlanta, even though I don't live there.
Nice.
Very connected.
Shout out to the A. Shout out to the A.
Right. So it kind of like hyphenated Diz and Atlanta. That's where Dizlanta came from. Well, I kind of felt like I needed to make a name change, and it just came all together. So that's where Dizzy kind of like.
So we kind of like
right into
all together, that little conglomerate. I got you.
Yeah.
Always wanted to know that. I'm glad you shared that with the table today. So it's good to have my brethren. Absolutely, man. Of course, we got the usual suspects at the round table. We have the soloist Lord, the Lord who appreciates nothing more than the single player experience. My man, Lord Sovereign. How are we doing, sir?
Doing well, sir. Just recovering from a few long weeks of a lot of work, but finally getting out from under it. So hopefully get some more gameplay in, but doing good.
Absolutely. And of course, the excess gamer.
Ooh.
The Lord who demands nothing less than the premium experience.
Ooh.
Lord King, how we doing, sir?
We're doing fantastic. I'm so happy that we're back. I do apologize for us being away for so long. I do got to say one thing though, Mikey Ybarra. I don't like you pushing your agenda with combat sports. I went back and forth with you on this. You don't have to be a fan of USC and put down boxing. Boxing numbers speak for themselves. The fighters getting paid speaks for their self. When you start paying your fighters what they're worth and you start packing arenas and giving that money back to your fighters, then I think your sport is viable. But right now, your sport is cool, and it's combat sports. So you don't have to put down one to big up another. The numbers speak for itself. Our numbers are larger. There's nobody walking away from boxing. Maybe you personally don't like boxing, and that's cool. Maybe come when Floyd fights Conor McGregor, maybe you'll watch. Maybe you can watch the sweet science in action as your man get his head bashed in, and you can understand exactly what goes on. But as far as you saying that boxing, people are walking, there's nobody walking away. You walked away and it's fine, and we're fine without you watching boxing. This is a nice thing. but you don't got to put down one to big up another. I watch UFC, I watch boxing. I'm a fan of combat sports, so you don't have to exclude one to make yours shine. You know, yours shine on its own. And I'm so happy that the boxing and UFC world is coming together with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. Everybody tune in and let those numbers show that, you know, boxing is there and combat sports is there. All right, so you don't got to do that. Mike
And this is
Ybarra.
the Iron Lord podcast, sponsored by the UFC and Money Pay by the promotion. Shout out to Mike Ybarra, my guy. I don't know what's going on out here.
That's right. You know, Mikey. You know what it is.
But I know this. Mike definitely is a very passionate sports guy. So I would already assume what happened between you two. Because I know Mike is he's actually a big time Seattle Seahawks fan. So during my Niners era, we would kind of go at it. He'd say some slick stuff. And
yeah, he's a slick talker, man. He's a slick talker.
I just love the fact that he's really involved with sports and stuff like that. So I understand he may have pushed the button. Lord,
yeah, man, he pushed the button.
Yeah, I know. We know you're the boxing guy, so it's all good. But of course, it is Lord Cognito here. We're giving you that gaming realness. Unfortunately, our Lord Addict might not be available today. He's having some issues. He's been going through a move. And again, we apologize, everyone, for time off. We've had a lot of things going on. Obviously, I was away. Lord King had a glorious birthday he had to celebrate. And also, we had Lord Sovereign. He's been extra busy and stuff like that. So, you know, we're going to get into it. We got a lot to discuss. You know, if Addict jumps in, you can free to just jump right on in if he wants to. But, yeah, we're going to get right into it. And there's a lot been going on. So I want to set this thing off. Actually, I'll set it off with, obviously, I was away for GuardianCon. I'm a big Destiny fan, as the Lords know. And I just wanted to talk about that briefly, that experience and how just to see a gaming community come together and donate to charity. You know, they raised over $1 million again, you know, for St. Jude's and the kids, and just seeing a lot of content providers and streamers and things of that nature was always good to see. So it's good to link up with my fellow Guardians, my brethren coming together and meeting at the Tampa Fairgrounds. Really cool experience if you guys get a chance to check it out. And also on the tip of that was the Destiny2 beta was announced. So I wanted to bring this to the Lords. Obviously, there's a couple of things that we're going to expect. We're going to have a homecoming opening mission and cinematics from the campaign. We're going to have a countdown Crucible mode, which I got a chance to play at E3, which is kind of like a 4v4. I believe Control, Inverted Spire Strike, some new subclasses, and a new social space called The Farm. So I'm going to bring this to the round table. If anybody got a chance to check out any of this news or what do they think about it? Let's start off with Lord DayZ, because I've been curious to see, you know, what's your feedback on this Destiny 2 information.
You know, I'm probably the worst person to even start off with this, just because I've always.
To be fair, I'm probably the worst person to start off with that.
It's not for the reasons you think that it is. Okay. I know that I've stated this before. I've said it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I've talked to a few of you about it. Mm-hmm. It's not about the exclusiveness. It's not about disliking Destiny, because, you know, we know how I felt about vanilla Destiny. You know, I'd never try to hide that. You know, they did make a rebound with I felt like the Taken King was amazing. Mm-hmm. I really wish that they could have duplicated that with the Rise of Iron, or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm. You got
it. I was actually looking forward to Destiny 2 a little bit. You know, I was like, I'll get back into it. Mm-hmm. Here was my problem. I feel that the developer is lazy. And the reason why I say this is it goes back to the whole, you know, I know Xbox One X, you know, fanatics are going to say, you know, 60 frames per second, 4K. I'm not looking for 4K. Okay. But there's no way that you cannot tell me that even the PS4 Pro cannot run Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second. If the PC is running at an unlocked, there's no way that even the PS4 Pro can't run this game at 60 frames per second.
Why they're not running it that way, right?
Don't tell me that we're not looking for parity between the regular PS4 and the PS4 Pro, or the Xbox One and the One X. Don't talk about parity, because the PC is running at an unlocked frame rate. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's ridiculous. And that's actually why I wrote Destiny 2 off. Just because of the frames per second.
Okay.
And they wanted to use other excuses for it, and I know that a lot of Xbox, gamers for Destiny, like been added about it because, the 1X is supposed to be pretty powerful, At least that's what they say on the, on the streets. So but whenever I look at it, I look at this game, and even with the PS4 Pro, stuff, you can't tell me that even the PS4 Pro can't run it at 60 frames per second. That should have been done. It should have been in stone at a near locked 60 frames per second.
Got you. So as a result of that news coming out, your whole feeling towards Destiny changed because you feel as a standard, like it should be automatically hitting that 60. And as a result, now that's turned you off from even thinking about considering the beta or purchasing at all?
It has. I'll probably try the beta out just to try it out, say that, well, I tried it out, but it should have been at the 60 frames per second. I like what they're doing with the game. Like they did exactly what I wanted. I wanted the Cabal, and it looks like that the story looks like it will be pretty good. The villain, he looks like he might be one of the best villains in gaming in quite some time. He's not the villain that's coming out here like, oh, I'm gonna kill and massacre everybody. This is something a little bit deeper. So the game looks like that it could be good. I'm boycotting it because I feel that the developer's lazy.
Well, by you playing the betas, you already pre-ordered the game because you're not playing the beta. They're not saying, hey, Dizzy, check this out. The beta's out. So either you pre-order, get down or lay down. That's exactly what they're telling you.
No. Actually, I just asked prior to the podcast, I asked Lord Cognito if it's going to be an open beta. Because if it's an open beta, yes, I will try it out. Because I do want to see the other things that they made little minor, changes to. Maybe down the line, whenever they put it on a major sale, I'll consider picking it up. But I am definitely not going to be there day one. I don't support that because, again, I feel that they're lazy.
Well, it's not an open beta. It's not an open beta, so it's either get down or lay down.
They're doing the pre-order initial guys first. That's like exclusive, but they do plan on making it open eventually to the public. I forget the dates now. Excuse me, the dates. I believe the Bungie update. I'm gonna say the 19th, but don't quote me.
21st to the 23rd is the console open beta.
Console, right?
Oh, okay.
So, my question to this is basically, I don't know if you got a chance, Lord Dizzy, to hear from Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy when they were talking about why they felt they couldn't hit it on console. And from the way it was explained was that they're saying it's CPU bound and that there's no way possible that these current systems, based on a CPU standpoint, not a GPU standpoint, can hit it. So that being that when you got that information, you still don't buy that. You still feel that this is.
I still don't buy that.
Just laziness on their part.
That was a crap.
Plenty of games out there. There's plenty of games out there that run at higher res, and they can lock the 60 frames per second. There's not enough going on the screen, even in Destiny, to say that even the computation power is not there to run at 60 frames per second. There are a lot of platformers that have a lot going on the screen and are still locked at 60 frames per second.
Okay.
So
and are these games open world games, and are these games consist of fire teams and other things going on? I just want something that I'm not trying to hate. I'm just trying to say from a comparable to what Destiny's doing. That's all.
That's also going to have to be reliant on if this is a pure server bound game. But from my understanding, weren't they moving to a different kind of server support, which would also kind of free up a lot of that computation because the server's not going to have to compute it all because part of it's going to be done through the console. So again, they're full of shit. To me personally, they're full of it, and they're full of themselves. They're just being lazy. They're trying to use something as a parity clause because we don't want to give an advantage, and using that CPU excuse. No, I don't buy it. I don't, and they know that they can do it. I'm not. I just don't. I don't.
All right, Lord Saab, you want to jump in real quick? I know you
I mean, just quickly on what Dizzy's saying. Like, when you have this type of like living game and you're trying to make it function across generations, across with Xbox, we're talking about now like a base Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, and then PS4, PS4 Pro. That's when you really have to program to the least common denominator, because you're going to want all these people to play together. So it's bound to the CPU, and it's bound to the lowest functioning CPU.
Hello.
It's the only way it's going to work across all of these consoles. Otherwise, the whole concept of mid-console cycle refreshes is not going to work. It's not going to work. I mean, yeah, I'd love it if they can give me a mode on the Xbox One X that allows me to play it at 60. That would be fantastic. They're not going to do that. They're just not going to do it. On PC's always could have been the Wild West. It's understood you're going to get those options on PC, but unfortunately, it's just what it is on console. If there's one thing that kind of holds, I've always argued that these console refreshes aren't holding back older games, but that really doesn't apply to these living world games, because again, if you want all these people to play together, it's just going to be concessions that you're going to have to make. So
now let me jump in defense of DayZ, which I'm gonna surprise my fan base. Now I will say this: there is some things that he is saying is truth in reference to the whole. A lot of Destiny calculations are done by this kind of hybrid server bound / like dedicated server. Well, we know there's no full dedicated servers, but the way they do their instance matchmaking and stuff like that, especially on the PvE standpoint, they use a lot of network resources. So do you think, Sov, like maybe because if they went a full, because I'll be honest with you, like my biggest argument with them right now is that, to me, I understand everybody's all uproar at 60 frames. To me, the biggest egregious thing is, why is there no dedicated servers?
Right, that should have been done. There's should have been mandates on certain things that weren't checked off from the mistakes that they made in the past.
That is where I side with, shout out to Lord Anchorman in chat. He's lit right now. So that's where I side with Anchorman. That's why I side with DayZ, because that's inexcusable. You have franchises like Call of Duty, right? You have these huge money getters, right? Your community, that is the top thing on the lists for, wanting, as far as community wants, right?
Right.
And every year, how many iterations of Call of Duty are we, right? Like, there's no dedicated servers. You find out it's this hybrid garbage or what have you. So it's just like, it's one of those things that, in my opinion, when you're making hand over fist, there's no reason why you can't have dedicated servers. And
this goes back to this is the Activision conundrum. This is they're in control of this. They're in control of Call of Duty. They're in control of Destiny. BattleNet is their thing. They're gonna put money into that, and that's what they're gonna use. So again, it sucks. It sucks, but they're just, again, they want to continue making money hand over fist. So they're going to throw it on this thing that's theirs. And, whichever way it functions is the way that it functions. And again, when it comes to the point where it's so egregious that people are not able to play the game as intended or properly, then maybe they would address that. But as long as that's not an issue, I don't think it's happening.
Y'all are gonna be surprised where I take my stance, because I'm taking my stance with Activision.
Let's go corporate.
My stance, yes, shout out to Anchorman. My stance is I'm gonna go through the boardroom and I'm gonna go with Bungie on this right now. Bungie is going to, like Lord Sovereign said, they're going to cater to the least common denominator, because they don't need to exclude anyone. Now, should they have a one-player mode that's 4K 60 frames per second for the console that can do it? Yeah. It should be. But then and DayZ is right. Lord DayZ is right on this. That comes into laziness, because that's another set of programming that they're like, why the hell should we do that? So. But that goes back to the resources again at Activision and the resources again at Bungie, and they saying that, financially it makes no sense, because if we just put it for 30 frames per second lock, we write one code and that's it. I get that part right there. I know they want to get the return back off of this, because it was a heavy investment in these Bungie dudes, and I know that they're notoriously difficult. All right, they're notoriously difficult. They're like these whiny little spoiled brats, these entitled children that we came over with this IP, and this IP is gonna do good because we know what's best. And the the company Activision is saying, yeah, but the people in the streets was talking, and they don't really like this from you. Well, we built our story up. All right, so the main talking points was their story was sucking. All right. Story looks very good from the outside. Story looks fantastic. It looks like it's getting me back in. It looks like it's getting Dizzy's curious about it. So they worked on that aspect. The servers, what not broke.
What's up with that?
I understand, but what isn't broke? They don't want to go and say, okay, we're going to put dedicated servers. We're going to invest all this money into dedicated servers. And just like Lord Salvin said, Battle.net is not built off of that. So what you're telling the company is, all right, change your philosophy. That's not going to happen. We invested in this thing, and this what makes money across the boards for us. We're not going to switch it up midstream just for this one game, this one title.
Now, my question to you in reference to that is, but like to Lord Dizzy's point, is that acceptable? Like, is it acceptable?
No, it's not acceptable. But if you built your company around this model, and for you to switch it up, okay, what happens when the whole Destiny dies out, right? All right, and they have these servers. Okay, so the next game is gonna go on this, and they got to bet that the next game is gonna make money. No. That's not how it works.
So pretty much you're saying from a corporate standpoint, they're just going to stick with the philosophy that's making the money. They're not going to change.
No.
And now to Dizzy's point, do we as the consumer take a stand?
Don't buy.
Okay, I feel you.
Yeah, don't buy. But that's not going to happen. That's not gonna happen.
We all gonna fall victim.
That's right. We already know. Everybody already know. We play games for a reason. See, we remember when there wasn't any servers. So don't buy. It's up to you. Vote with your dollar.
Vote with your dollar. And I just want to jump in on it. I mean, the whole thing as far as the whole lazy developer. I'm in a disagreement with Lortiz on that, obviously, but my thing is this: I think as gamers, sometimes we have to be leery of what I consider like armchair developing. And I'm not trying to say that there's no way that this thing can't be done. I'm not in any way trying to discredit this and say like it is not possible. It is very well made possible. And shout out to Stu Jersey in the chat. A lot of this also I want to bring into the attention is that with 4K being such a focus, there should also be options. Like if we're going mid-console generation refresh, right, for a 1080-60 option, right? Like why, if 4K is going to push things to that level, and not everyone has a 4K TV, we should have some things that are configurable. That's the first point. The second point is like, okay, I don't want to disrespect a dev and say when they tell me the reason why they can't do something is because it's CPU bound, for me to just go to them and say, nah, you full of I'm just not that guy. Like I'm a techie, and again, I'm not trying to say that it's impossible. It very well be. For me, I tend to concede in that respect. So that's just where my position on it. I know a lot of people do agree with Lord Dizzy. Shout out to man in the chat going crazy. I know where he's at as far as first-person shooters are concerned. I know he thinks that Destiny is not a traditional open-world game, but it's also not a standard FPS in a traditional sense either.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no other games that do the fire team thing that people come into your instance and stuff like that. But like I said, we'll see what's up. As far as everyone's position, I want to kind of get back into the actual beta stuff that we was going to talk about.
Right. But, I'm like, I totally derailed it all.
That's good though, but I love it. I love it because you brought up a good point, and a lot of people, like, shout out to my boy Lord Doc Cupcake and these guys. There's people like you who are like, yo, I'm taking a stance. I'm not buying this. There's people that say, hey, I'm not buying it. I'm not going for this exclusive crap anymore. You know what I mean? Like, why am I paying as Xbox guys? Obviously, why are we paying for less content? So I get all the arguments and I respect it.
Buy a PlayStation.
Can I say two points that I actually thought that were pretty cool about this Destiny 2 stuff and some of the stuff that they were talking about? We kind of like briefly mentioned it. The whole kickball into a net. So they got soccer, and then Friend of Chicken, which clearly they're trying to bite off, you know, Zelda and Elder Scrolls with this, but you know, that's pretty neat. I think that
Cool.
they should be adding a lot more things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Lord King, what about you? Have you read any of the information about the beta? What's going to be included? Anything excites you?
Everything excites me from it that I've heard about. Anything that I can get on Destiny 2 excites me. Like I heard a little bit about the farm. Well, you know how I go when it's that stuff, reading that stuff, and I want the excitement. I have to break that cycle because of the podcast. So I'm forced to listen, look, and take in this information that will otherwise spoil my $80-$90 purchase, that would destroy my Wonder Bar. It's no more Wonder Bar. So I'm gonna become one of these jaded. Shout out to Anchorman. One of these jaded podcasters, and I understand because we are forced to take in this information and report back to the guys that aren't in the know or too busy, and they tune into the podcast to get the latest or whatever is what's going on. So I'm forced to take in this information, look at it, and I can't shut it off. What's seen once is you can't unsee it. So yeah, I had to look at the farm. Yeah, I was happy, but disappointed in the fact that I just blew my own self up watching it.
I feel it. It's tough. It's tough because you definitely, like me, you, and Lord Saul, we come from that ilk that we as gamers like to be surprised. So we don't want to watch too much from a preview standpoint because you want that newness feeling, right? When the game arrives. So I hear where you're coming from. Now Lord Saul, the non-Destiny player you were in vanilla. How did you feel about these updates? Did you catch anything? Did you catch any information?
Yeah, I think for me, what excites me the most about it is the fact that they're fixing all that story stuff. The story elements is the stuff that I gravitate more to. So the fact that, that initial story mission that we saw when it was first revealed is going to actually be playable and we actually, feel and touch that and kind of see how they've incorporated all that new stuff into the actual gameplay. Because for me, I always want a game to show me their story, like integrate me in the story, whether it be like with interesting characters and stuff like that. The Grimoire card stuff in the first one was cool, but it's all stuff that should have been in the game proper, not have me go online looking for this extra lore. So I want to be I want to be brought into the Destiny world by the game itself, the gameplay, the situations and scenarios they put me in. So that's what I'm most interested to kind of play. The Crucible stuff, I fell off of that early on in Destiny 1, so I definitely like to see that. All the cool stuff they're going to add to the social space. Again, that's another thing that kind of engages you more in that world. Little funny stuff that you could do in the social space. It makes the world feel more alive. And I think that's, for me, that was the biggest negative for Destiny 1. That didn't feel like it was a real inhabited world. Like you just get together with your friends, you'd go on a mission, and then you get some loot, and then you go back and do the same thing, and you just
repetitive,
rinse and repeat, but it didn't feel like a living world. So I'm hoping that that's what they do in this one. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So shout out to Anchorman who says he's not falling for the trailers, extended gameplay demos. He's like, if it's not
vertical slices,
he's going hard, Lucky. He's going hard at Lucky.
I tell him I feel him. He's coming from a standpoint of a true open world single player experience, and that's his ilk. So really, kind of stay in your lane.
No. Now, Will, have any of you pre-ordered? No, I'm assuming DayZ, you have not pre-ordered, correct? DayZ's going for a little.
Okay, so I haven't.
Okay.
No, okay. I'm gonna pre-order this weekend. I'm gonna pre-order like 2 days before the beta comes out. I'm gonna give him my money. Remember, I wasn't gonna pre-order. I wasn't gonna play the beta. I wasn't gonna do that stuff because I wanted to be excited for the game. But again, I'm forced to spend my money for you guys. I'm forced to spend my money and a report back for you guys, so y'all can hear me rant about how I didn't like this or I don't like that. Now, I did get a chance to play the PC version, and I'm going to tell you I am buying the PC version. I'm going to let you know that right off the bat. My PC, I have dual 1080s running, ready to play in 4K, 60 frames per second. Well, actually, it'd be like 200 frames per second, but I can only see 60. Actually, I can't even see 60. I can only see like 27. But I'm going to be playing that. Now, will I be playing on my Xbox One X? Yes, of course. All my friends did, because none of my friends got a PC playing on no PC. But I'm going to meet new people in the PC realm. I'm going to be in that space. But
are you going to concurrently run both? Like,
yes, I have no choice. This is the game that I'm going to be dual welding. I'll be dual welding.
Wow. Listen.
It impressed me so much in PC. I can't stress this enough to anybody that's listening. I played it in 4K, 60 frames per second in a private setting, and I had a chance to sit with a developer sitting with me, going over it. Shout out to Lord Ant, the ruler. He was there as my photographer. He caught all the footage. That footage will be shown once I put the podcast up. They gave us a flash drive to walk away with our gameplay that was captured in 4K. I can't stress it enough by telling you.
Lord Zero, your TV. I see you jumped in the building, baby, but your TV's up.
Got it.
My man, go ahead. Lord, finish up. Let me get Lord Zero in the building.
Yeah, I can't stress it enough by telling you how impressed I was visually and control-wise. There's a big difference control-wise from 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second. And in a first-person shooter, it's essential to have that twitch gameplay going. Trust me when I tell you this, the PC version, and I know the Master Race is out there saying, yes, King, yes, King, yes. This is the point where y'all actually are on top. Okay, so I was playing in the i7. All right, so you already know if it's CPU bound, that i7 was tearing it apart. All right, GPU wise, there was in 4K 60 frames per second. It looked glorious. All right, it looked like this is what my money is for. So I don't care if I'm spending that extra money. Yeah, my purchase is going to probably top out at $200 combining both systems. I don't give a damn.
I feel you. I mean, it's a valid point because I mean, at GuardianCon, I got a chance. Shout out to Tefty Teft and Fallout Plays, all the guys in the community, because I had the heart-to-heart with them. I'm like, you guys are streamers, and I'm seeing you guys at the PC gaming shows. I'm seeing you guys make how-to vids on how to make a gaming rig. And I'm like, what's going on? Are y'all jumping ship? Are y'all doing it? And a lot of them were straight up with me. They were like, look, man, from a visual standpoint, I think I'm going to start an additional community on PC, as far as when Destiny 2 comes out. So it is luring people to what Lord King's point is. But before we get into that, we got Lord Zero, the OG, in the building. I need a Haiti ho before we even get into anything else. It's been that long.
Howdy ho, everybody.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Not much, man. Just been working. And
love that avatar. Mind you, remember when you posted that avatar in the chat, I could not wait for it to get in the podcast. So I'm so happy.
Yeah, it looks super nice, man.
Yeah, damn sure does.
Absolutely. OG's in the building. So
I ended up having give our brother a dropout a little extra for how well it actually ended up being.
Shout out to our boy Lord Dropout Designs. Check him out. He's doing his thing out here for ILP, definitely. So I know you jumped in the tail end of this conversation. I want to get you caught up. Lord Dizzy out here creating all type of controversy in these streets about CPU bound Destiny and how he's not about that life. He's not about that 30 frames per second life. So I want to get your comment on that, and then also just with the information that's been released by Bungie so far with the Destiny 2 beta. So Lord Zero, the floor is yours.
As far as the console PC thing goes, I could get where people would want to go to the PC, and that's fine for people who have something capable for it. Me personally, I've always been a console gamer first and foremost. So I'm just going to stay to Xbox. I understand the benefits of a PC, but it's just PC gaming just isn't my kind of thing. I don't like the hassle that comes with it and all that shit. I'm just
not a keyboard and mouse kind of guy.
No.
Upgrading the CPU and upgrading the GPU and that stuff like that is a huge hassle. Yeah, I get it.
Yes, it is. Yep. As far as the beta goes, I'm excited for it. I watched the farm, and I think the coolest thing about the farm that they mentioned, I don't know if y'all caught it or if you mentioned it yet, is it starts out pretty barren and without a whole lot of stuff in it, but as the story progresses, it actually grows kind of like an actual community, which I thought is pretty cool because the tower just kind of stays stagnant the whole time. It was just the tower. But you're gonna, they went into detail a little bit, and they said the longer you go on, more buildings are going to show up. There's going to be more stores, stalls are going to show up in the
traveling NPCs coming in too. That's what I heard too.
I don't know how they're going to implement that. To be honest with you, I thought that was a bunch of smoke and mirrors because they said the same thing with the tower and that whole back area, and they would open it up for Iron Banner, or they would open it up for little things, and they would go and come at it, back and forth. Because if you're starting, and remember, this Destiny 2 is going to be a vanilla version as well. So when they do DLC, they're not straying from their formula. You're not fooling anybody when you're saying that, oh yeah, it's available for everybody. It's the same lie they told y'all the first time. Don't fall for it, okay? Because when the DLC comes out and Joey didn't buy the DLC, they still want Joey to play. So Destiny 2 is vanilla. They're not saying that, but it's vanilla Destiny 2. And then when the DLCs come out, they're gonna start separating the herd. From the haves and the have. No, it's the truth because they're not giving you the DLC for free. So you're purchasing the DLC, and that's going to separate the herd again. Because a lot of times we went inside the rooms and we like, all right, let's start up this mission. How come it's not starting? Joey didn't download. I'm downloading it now. So that's going to happen, and it's going to happen again. And it's back to the same thing. Instead of, and I know Lord Sovereign has this topic a little bit later. So I'm not going to delve too much into it, but instead of putting this DLC as paid for, sell the whole game complete so that it's no longer vanilla, this, that, and the third. It's one whole game. When you first purchase the game, all the DLC and everything is included, so nobody's excluded.
And we're asking this from Activision, who won't give us dedicated servers. But
just make it one price. It's not too hard to say, all right, dudes, it's $79.95. Get down and lay down. And it is not. And then when you say, well, why is it $79? Because everything is included because we don't want to exclude anyone. Then it works. It keeps everything all intact. So that one dude that purchased that one time, he's down with you. Let's say he stops playing for
it doesn't separate the community. I understand where you're going from that. I just want to get Lord Zero. I know we kind of stepped over him a little bit.
Sorry, Lord Zero. I apologize. I was really upset with that whole thing with them. They're not learning their lessons, and they're doomed to repeat the same mistake.
I didn't even go into the DLC, man. Calm down. Calm down, brother. But I feel like I get what you're saying about the social space, though, and how that could be a lie. I would be right there with you, honestly. But the only thing that's making me feel like they're actually going to do it is this time around in the beta. For the beta for Destiny 1, they said, hey, do this mission, run around the entire tower the whole time. We're not going to hide anything from you, right? This time, they're only on one day. They're going to give you 1 hour to explore it, and that's it. You don't get to run around it on this beta. And I don't think they would do that unless they didn't want you to see things or see changes going on. And so I feel like they might. Maybe they over exaggerate a little bit. You're
drinking the Kool-Aid. This is what you're telling me. You got a big bowl of porridge. taking it in.
I'm just now counting doom and gloom right out the gate.
It's not doom and gloom. Like it's just really honest to God common sense. Like they can spin it however they want to spin it. We got 1 day to get busy. Yeah, okay. That's you're not fooling me.
I understand where you're coming from, just from the standpoint of, okay, I hate when games come out and, like, for example, like let's just use the opposite example. Like I love what Halo 5 did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, boom, all the DLC, everyone's getting it. Because it does suck when, because you had a guy like Anchorman, you had guys, I remember, that had vanilla, was excited for taking King and all that stuff. And
It's because Anchorman spent all his money on Snake Pass.
I'm not gonna touch that.
Oh yeah.
But it's like it sucks because you got guys who really want to get part of the experience, and then Lord of Wolves, the House of Wolves comes out, and they're like, damn, I gotta pay 30, whatever. And the way Activision, they strong arm that situation, like they'll lock out content. You can't do the dailies, or you can't do the Nightfall stuff like that. So I get it, but in the other standpoint, I do see like the World of Warcraft model, which is pretty much what they're mimicking. But go ahead, Lord Sarah. Continue. I'm sorry.
I'm with y'all on the DLC thing, though. To be completely honest, I think the DLC should be free, but let's be real, it's Activision.
Yeah, they
Charge more. That's
gotcha.
Yeah, it covers it. Pay.
So that's what we got on the beta, and are we excited, Lord Zero? Are we excited for that day? Are we getting hype?
I'm pretty excited, of course. I'm a sucker for Destiny. I mean,
no, the question is, can we convince Lord Dizzy to come to the dark side? Put away his 30 frames per second differences.
If you play a week of Ark with him, he will give you a week of Destiny.
Oh, we're gonna get into that. That's later.
You gotta write a contract.
I'm actually gonna be playing that daggone Ark for the simple fact that they explained what's going on with Xbox One X. So that is
to Ark, y'all. That's coming as a topic. We got that on deck. We got this on deck. We're gonna go. So we're gonna move on.
I can't be in here without speaking about Ark.
Right.
On that note, we could just lead right into your topic.
The best game this generation, right? It's true.
Lord Dizzy, let's talk some Ark. It's on everyone's tongue right now. Let's just switch up the format. Tell us what's going on in these Ark streets. Now, school me. What's going on? We need to know.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else has been seeing a couple of these tweets being, or not even just tweets, a couple articles talking about the DayZ devs talking about Ark Survival Evolved, and then moving to what was supposed to be their release launch pricing, which is a $60 title.
Okay.
And for probably about the last 2 years, it's been running at an average of a $30 game in a preview state, in a gaming preview, in a state where they're going to continuously fix things and continuously break things so that they can try to fix things so that when it releases is not as buggy as the people who have been playing for 2 years. That's kind of the incentive that you have whenever you play like a game that's in a game preview state, is it's going to be at a lower price because they want you're pretty much you're paying to play the beta, but you're also paying at a discounted rate that you get to keep the game once the game releases, correct?
Right. Which is the whole purpose of game preview, right?
Yes. And on August 8th, despite a lot of people saying it, here's my son coming over here trying to talk to the mic with you guys.
He's hype. He's hype, baby.
Yeah, he's excited. He actually watches me play the game. I digress.
Nice.
Despite a lot of people saying, oh, Ark is never going to release, Ark has a release date of August 8th.
Yep.
Okay. So
that was my major beef. That was my major. Thank God.
Yeah. Right. So recently they decided, okay, we're just going to move the pricing both on Steam and Xbox and the PlayStation 4. It moved to the $60 price point. And here comes Dean Hall. I don't know if anybody knows who Dean Hall is. The good old creator of DayZ.
DayZ.
The game that has been in preview for about 4 or 5 years. It was still
He's like
waiting
the
on.
last person to be talking.
They had his second game canceled and has a really atrocious looking third game, criticizing the studio wildcard for moving this to the $60 price point, calling them greedy, saying that the game is not worth $60. Now, Dale, or Lord Zero, you play the game just on single player. You don't even play on an official Ark server where, you know, many people play.
Right.
In your perspective, is that worth $60 for what they're selling you?
Well, as the Lords know, I determine what a game is worth by how long I play the game, right? Everybody knows this. I've put thousands of hours into Destiny. It's worth $60 to me, even the DLC. I paid, including Scorched Earth, 55 roughly for Ark, and I have, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 hours into it.
Jesus.
So, and that's just like Lord Diz said.
Retention.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just pointing out that's retention.
Right.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, that's mostly coming from a guy who does 99% of single player. I very, very, very rarely do PvP or official service at all, and that's a whole nother pot and kettle right there. Those are people who will hop on every day, play for hours on end to get their base ready, do raids, tame dinos, all this other kind of stuff. And you know, that's the kind of experience that Dizzy could speak on more fluently because he plays that.
Right.
But to me personally, hell yeah, the game is worth $60 for a single player if they're into that survival dinosaur aspect. It's kind of like Minecraft. You could play Minecraft for hundreds of thousands of hours.
We're not talking about a game. We're not talking about a game like that had like Sean Murray, who said all of these beautiful things, and none of those beautiful things appeared.
Right.
Almost. That
is correct.
I would care to say at least 98% of what the developers at Studio Wildcard said that they were going to do with Ark have appeared in the game in some form or matter. And if they couldn't make it happen, they let you know. You weren't out in the cold. And PC gamers love their mods. They have to be, aside from Bethesda, they have to be one of the most mod supporting developers I've ever seen in gaming.
Okay.
This game isn't worth $60 according to the DayZ dev, who has yet to release a single game.
I want to jump in on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. Now, as the Lords know, I am extremely Ark ignorant. I've put that out there. I am no Ark expert. I watch you guys. I listen to your guys' stories, and I see the passion, you know, what you guys have for this game. Shout out to Lord Cal. I see you even indoctrinated my boy Cal. They got him on Ark, and I notice whenever you guys do get into that Ark, it's like a cult. It's going down, and I respect it. So I see the power of this game, right? So let's start from the beginning. My question to you guys is, when the game first came out in preview, was it like another $35 preview? What was preview price at start? 60?
35 bucks.
Right, so 35.
35.
Yep.
Now, this is what I remember. I remember during the course of the game that they announced DLC. And shout out to Lord Anchorman, we're going to get into that. You know, I did feel a way about that, because my feeling was the game at that point was not released. It was in preview. How dare you announce DLC?
You're stepping all over my rant. Like you step over the rant, because I'm coming for Dizzy with guns.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take that right now, because that was my issue at first with them. Like, I was like, how y'all going to ask for DLC?
Yeah, here we go.
That was my main thing. Now, as far as this whole bit, you know, my thing, to me, the most positive news that I heard was when you guys said release date. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't confident it was going to happen. I was very nervous. I was like, they've been in preview a long time. I know they update. I see the updates. I go to Play by Gaming. I check what you guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? I do see that things are happening. And they seem very receptive to the community, always engaging you guys, which I like. So I didn't feel like a hustle. You know what I'm saying? In that standpoint. But I was concerned that release date was coming out. Now we have a release date. Cool. You know what I'm saying? So now you're telling me that, okay, again, clarify because I'm Ark ignorant.
There we go.
What's the price of the PC Steam stuff? How much is that? What was it prior?
35, just like
yeah.
Okay.
35.
Same model.
I'm pretty sure it was 35 across the board.
Yeah, same model.
And were they in the same boat, like the console? Were they also like in a preview state, and you get it at a discount?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay, so
now the thing that
okay.
Steam had an advantage of, not to cut you off, the only thing that the Steam or PC gamers had an advantage of was that the modders were able to get in there and put mods up a lot quicker, and they could do it. There's a lot more going on for the PC and everything in that respect. Now, what they've been doing is Ark is very receptive of what's going on PC and what the gamers on the PC like. And if it looks like it's something that is a big hit, the cool thing that the developers have been doing is bringing those mod developers on to bring that to the console versions of the game. And that's within the PC game, or within the preview.
Got you. Okay. So pretty much for the PC guys, it was similar to console guys. Look, you early committed, you get it for the 35. And now basically what's happening is, okay, we've renounced our launch date, and now it's like $60 now for these guys, right? That's what they're saying? Is that I'm just okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, I get it.
The ultimate bait and switch.
King, I know you're about to go in. But that my only thing was the DLC. I'm glad it's released. King, go, and I already know you about to go. So I'm just gonna give it to you right now. So
Shout out to Anchor, man. I'm gonna take this badge right here and I'm gonna put it on my chest, baby. You're gonna respect this right here, son.
No, because you're wrong, but go ahead.
You didn't even get it yet, so you already know what's coming, right?
I know where it's going. It's the same thing everybody says.
You know, it's not the same thing everybody says. It's because this is King saying it. I'm going to start off with the fact that I'm diametrically opposed to the preview program. All right, so I think that's an utter failure, and I think they should shut it down. And I think they should shut it down just because of your game. All right, because your game actually said, "Yo, check this out, $35, bring it in." And I thought it was supposed to be $35, and when the game come out, I got it. Nah, brother, that's not how it's gonna go. It's $35, and then y'all said, "Yo, for me to play your game all these hours, here's 4,000 hours of my time and feedback, and giving y'all all this data is gold, brothers. You don't understand. They pay people for this. This is actually whole companies is made up of this, and you guys are doing it basically for free. You paid to do this. You paid to get in the club and spin your own records. This is what you did, right? And then they say, you know what? Hey, listen, you want to play additional records? That'll be another $5. They charging you to play DLC for a game that's not complete. Like, I've never in my life heard here's half a car. We're going to give you a car with 3 wheels, and later on down the road, we're going to let you buy another wheel for your car. This is the most craziest thing. All right, and if you thought it couldn't get any crazier, they say, yo, y'all want the date, right? The date is coming. The full game is coming out that you've been playing anyway. The full game is coming out in August 8th, $65. Brother, time out. I got to put my hand up here. I think this is a bait and switch, fellas, because y'all did say that it was $35, and they said, no. You're going to pay for the full game on this date. This date is the day that the money comes into the bank. So
let's clarify one thing though. I need this.
Hold on. But everybody who has bought it has the full game for $35.
That's what I was going to ask.
No, you don't. You don't have it for $35. You do not have it for $35. No, you don't. You know why you don't? Because you bought DLC.
We didn't have to, goddammit. That was the choice we made.
You didn't. Wait. You didn't have to, right?
No.
Did you buy it?
Of course I did, because the goddamn game I have been playing for 3 hours.
You was already
3,000 hours.
That's right. They knew they had you hook, line, and sinker. And
that's not true at all, because plenty of people didn't pick it up because it was outrageous to them, and that's everybody's opinion.
Some people didn't. I remember, until Lord Zero's defense, there was people that were opposed to that said they're not doing it.
Wildcard got roasted for that shit. They paid that price.
You know what's true, right? You know what's the best part about that? A lot of people ain't pick it up at all, and they want a full game when it come out.
Right. A lot of people said they were going to wait or do it not with the
right. My thing is, if you want people to beta test your stuff, give it to them for free. If you want people to test your DLC, give it to them for free because it's a test. Stop charging people.
So wait. Would you have preferred them to say, "Hey, here, play Ark for free until release comes out, and if you want to continue to play the game, pay us $60 right here, right now." Yes. That's retarded.
Yes.
I have that game for $35 now.
I have that game. I don't have that game at all.
Well, then you didn't adopt it. That's your fault. You're an excess gamer. Why didn't you buy it?
No, I'm buying the game 60 frames per second on a 4K television because they said something that appealed to me. They said they were the only game that is actually doing the full K 60. So I said, oh. What? I said they actually doing it? I will get in
you know
on
what,
this.
David? Then you can enjoy that, and you're welcome because it does help the game get to that point.
And I appreciate your hard work, and I hope they give y'all a sticker because they gave you nothing. And I know you're gonna say they gave me the game.
Well, they gave me the game for half off.
Listen, everybody that has been duped or jerked, try to fix it around so it works for them.
Here's what I'll say. Like, I understand exactly what your point is and everything, and I get it quite a bit. Okay, but it's just the formula, the way that the game preview. And now, granted, Ark isn't the first one that sold into the preview program and to getting people to do this. And let me tell you why. Like, I don't think that the preview program should operate on that free model. Okay. A lot of these developers that do the free model, or not the free model, the game preview, are not your Activisions. They're not the EAs. They're not the Rockstars. They're not the Bethesdas. They don't have the resources that these companies have that they could open up a completely free to play where you go in there and you try it out before they sell it out. Okay, so these are independent developers that they don't have those resources. So that's why they make you pay into it. You know, with the preview program, so that they can pay their developers to continue to try to work on this, because you don't want your developers to go hungry. How else are they going to be able to afford to pay these people to make this game, right? Otherwise, these games will never release. This is your, unfortunately, for 5 fucking years, DayZ. This is your Players Unknown Battlegrounds. This is your Arks. This is your Rust. This is your H1Z1.
Oh, wait a second. Did Players Unknown have a preview program?
That's where they've been.
Yeah, it's in preview right now.
That's where they've been, brother.
So Players Unknown is in preview right now on Xbox?
Not on Xbox, on PC.
It's on Steam, right? It's on Steam, right?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And so when it comes to Xbox,
it will come to Xbox as a what? A complete game, right?
It's not coming as a complete game. They're not done with the game. That's the thing.
Oh, so it's coming to Xbox as a preview program?
It's going to come in the preview program. Watch.
So you willing to bet on this?
Oh, I hear more bets. There's a lot of Ark bets going on.
Wait, time out. You willing to bet that when the game is released on Xbox, it's going to be released in the preview?
If it's releasing this year, yes, it's going to.
All right, so then you're willing to bet on this?
Ooh, this is a good
we
one.
will talk bets later.
No, we can talk bets on air right now. The bets can go on air right now. I'm willing to bet you. I'm willing to bet you if it comes out on the preview program, I'll buy it for you. If it doesn't release on the preview program and it comes out as a complete game for my Xbox, you buy it for me.
I like this. I got a bet with Dizzy too, but damn.
It's just a simple yes or no if you're strong behind your convictions as I am behind mine.
Welcome to ILR's Gambling Podcast.
Welcome to ILR's Gambling Podcast.
You heard it first. We'll go for that one.
Okay. Good. All right. Good. Cool. That's a virtual handshake, my brother. I will love your $60. I like my digital code sent to me via email.
Anyways, out there, guys. That's how these preview programs are going and everything. And I 100% I can 100% understand the whole DLC thing while you're within the preview and everything. I get that 100%. I can't defend it.
Okay,
The community,
I was worried.
we're ignorant enough that we're like, we don't give a shit about that. We're going to pay for it anyways. Okay.
Right.
That's just the nature of a lot of the people who play Ark and everything.
I'm not saying it is a bad game. I actually love the concept behind the game. Once, shout out to Lord Fatboy. He told me that he got kidnapped by some dudes. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, stories that you hear from Ark players, I mean, I never forget DayZ breaking down to me what happened, or like either some type of towards the end of a dissolving of a clan and the nastiness that it involved, and dudes coming in and
it'll turn your best friends against each other, man.
Yeah, it's serious.
It's just the nature. Yeah.
And in terms of defense, like, the only reason why I stay away from it because I see it's like a drug. It's like I already have Destiny. Like, I don't more crack in my life. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I know what's going on. But my thing is, we're gonna jump into our bet too. Is that obviously we had the Marvel thing going on, and I made some comments, a couple weeks back in reference to what's going on with the characters. And Lord DayZ, he's a firm believer that the Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer, who is my favorite, is coming to the MCU. He is convinced. So the bet that we have going on, if it does happen and it comes to fruition, that I have to get down with Ark. I gotta.
You'll be playing Ark in a second, then.
Pick it up, whatever. And if it doesn't happen, then obviously he gets to play. I got to put in 100 hours plus. But if it doesn't happen, then he has to do that. 100 hours. The game of my choice.
You are in on this. Yeah. After the Spider-Man numbers come out, brother.
No, it don't look good for me right now.
It don't look good for you at all.
But look, it'll be a bet that, to be honest, if I lose, I'll be so happy.
Yeah, it's a win-win for you. Yeah, it's a win-win for you. You get to play Ark and you get to have Fantastic Four. Look at that win.
I know we've been talking for a minute. We've been small and pull us off real quick because I got to get him in on this. Also, the Ark discussion. I didn't get his feedback at all as far as where's he at with this.
All right, let me see. So first of all, I think Lord King going to be owing DayZ a game. I think that's and I'll tell you why. They just announced that they're pushing back the final release of the game.
Yep.
So I don't think Phil Spencer's gonna be like, you know what? We're gonna hold off, and it's not gonna launch with the X1X. I think they're gonna put it in preview, and I think they're gonna let us rock just like that.
If it's in preview, like I said, I stand behind my word. There's no problem. You shoot me that email, and you get that digital code, and it'll be popping for you. I don't believe Phil is gonna make that much of a blunder. So I'll shoot you my email so you can shoot me the full game. It'll be fantastic.
This is the thing, though. The game runs it so well now. Like it's only like optimizations and adding more stuff. Like it's not like it's broken. So I think it's coming, and I think we're gonna get it in November.
I'm glad that you think so, but my bet stands how it stands, and thank you for coming in. Unless you want to join in on the bet,
real quick,
and you want to
for calling him Lord Fatboy.
if you want to jump in on his bet,
I'll jump in. I'll take a free copy of the game.
All right, good. So what happens?
Okay, I'll take this one though. I'll take this one.
Oh my son!
I want a free copy of Ark, and I want a free copy of Battleground.
All right, okay. So listen. I will give you a free preview copy of Ark. Notice the game will be out by then. But for you, what I would take from you is I don't know what game will be out by then. See, because DayZ or Lord Zero will be purchasing this game from me. We will find out exactly who's purchasing this game for me.
Bro, I already purchased it.
All right, good. No, so that game will be purchased for me there. So you can't double buy me a game. So what I don't know what game will be coming out at that time, but it will be a game of my choosing, and we will announce it on air.
That's fine.
Okay, so get lost off just real quick with the whole bet. Like, what's the time frame? Like,
day of release, the day it come out.
The time frame is that we're getting Ark on Xbox One X or Xbox One this year.
Okay. Whatever way it's released, it has to be released either as a full release or a preview. If it goes into the preview program, then they win. If it doesn't touch the preview program and it comes out as a release, the king wins. I've never seen a game launched on the screen and they said, this game is coming out. The preview. It's never happened. I will honestly no, brother. That wasn't even talked about. They said we have a preview program.
They had it on the Titantron up at the E3. Where were you?
I was at E3 and I didn't see that crap on the screen. I was there. I did not see them say, "Yo." Maybe when it was launching,
they said, "Hey, here's Ark."
Oh, you know what it is? Lord Cognito, you know what he's talking about? He's talking about when they said, we got a preview program and these are the games that's in it. This is when they said they were launching the preview program.
After the podcast, David, I will send you the segment where they went over Ark. I will send it to you.
Let's get back on focus. We got solved. We got to finish.
Not to mention they did the same thing with oh god, what is it? That one $20 game that was in preview that died immediately. We Happy Few. They had a segment on that. It came out in preview and then it died.
Well, they said there was going to be a preview program. They didn't say it was a launch game.
Right, but it was on the big screen at E3.
Well, when
been made, we will see what happens.
The bets is in, but they said that this game is a game. Not a preview game. So I'm comfortable in my stance right here with this player. I'm very comfortable with this.
Lord Saab, continue, and then I want to give it to Dick.
Sorry.
All right, so quickly, to me, I think the whole change in price again, it's just bad optics, and the fact that when you go to final release and then you're trying to release physical copies at the same time, that messes up everything because now you have to adhere to what the MSRP is in store. And then when you're trying to sell like, limited editions with like statues and stuff like that, it messes up the entire pricing model. So to me, it's just one of those things where it's like, you're trying to get the new person in by purchasing this physical copy of the game and adding all these extras. The balance, as soon as they find out that there's a cheaper version digitally somewhere, if they're not that person who really wants all that physical stuff, the difference isn't going to be, it's not going to be fair to them. So to remedy the optics, they have to bring the price up. It sucks. It absolutely sucks and it looks horrible. But in the long term, if you want to sell this game long term and you want to continue to sell physical copies of it, you got to do it. So it's ugly. It's very ugly, but it is what it is.
Now, Lord Saab, I got a question for you. With the announcement that the devs are saying that there's going to be an Xbox One X, enhancement to Ark. I know for me personally, that kind of excited me because that was really my only beef for the game, y'all. DayZ and Zero, like that was it. I know the game's deep. I was just like, damn, it could look a little nicer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the whole issue with it.
And here's the crazy part. And here's what's actually, this is the reason why you have the game preview and everything, and for people to, be in this kind of optimization. They did from the initial release of Ark to the standpoint that they're at right now is night and day. The game looks so much better and it runs so much smoother than what it did. But on occasion, they do make a lot of blunders. I'm not going to even pretend that they're perfect. But every time they fix something, they break about 2 more things, which is the life of a developer. Okay. Recently, they had a patch that went out that actually really fucked up the load times of actually the rendering distance. And what they ended up having to do is they actually had to downscale some of the dynos and their resolutions in order to try to fix what was going on. So for about a week, we were running around with some dynos that looked like that they were being ran on the PS2. And it's so crazy to see something like everything else is running at and people don't realize this, but the game is actually running above 900p. And for a game with this much processing that it requires and as expansive and open world as it is, it's pretty amazing that they're on a console that they're running it above 900p. Wow. I digress. But it's funny seeing something that is, at that resolution next to something that looks like it should be on PS2. It almost looks like somebody hacked something and threw it in there. And It's just crazy. But you know, they've came a very long way. I really cannot wait to see it on the One X.
If you got them 4K assets and it's looking how it's looking, Lord Cognito will be happy to lose that bet. Glorious 4K 60. So that you wait real quick before we move on. Shout out to Lord Stu Jersey in the chat. He says, and I quote, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will launch exclusively on console via Xbox One game preview program in late 2017 and in 2018 as an Xbox One X enhanced title.
When it comes out, let me get it when it come out, and then I will see, because somebody could say midstream, nah, that's not a good idea. Somebody could say, I don't think so.
Phil can pull a plug on that?
Yep, so until it comes out, brother, I'm golden. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch it. And when it comes out, and y'all be like, damn, they released it? Yeah, they did.
Lord Dizzy for this Ark topic. I have never laughed as hard as I laughed this topic in a long time. I'm glad you brought Ark to the table. I know they shut you down.
I think that my overall question, because we went completely in on Ark itself. Does the DayZ developer have a right? The DayZ developer, individual, does he have a right to say this?
I don't mean to cut you off here, dudes, but this man has a game where you could pay an in-app price, right, to get an airdrop that another player can fucking steal from you.
What?
How the hell does this man have the goddamn right to criticize?
Wait, what did you just say?
You can pay to get an airdrop on DayZ
microtransactions
that another character can take from you.
What?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you pay $10 for that airdrop with that fancy gun and that real nice skin and whatnot, and the buddy gets to it before you do, you ain't got shit.
What?
That's all $10, my man.
DayZ is kind of gangster like that. Like you have to.
That's not gangster. That's just a ripoff.
That is crazy to me.
I'm glad you told me
up a game before release. That makes sense. $10 for an airdrop that somebody can steal from you? Nah.
That doesn't go straight to your inventory? That you gotta fight for what you paid for?
David, when you put that money down, David, what happens is you log into the game, right? And in the middle of the sky, somewhere over the map, an airdrop will just drop. It'll slowly fall for everybody to see. And whoever gets to it first gets it.
No,
Lord
King, they're coming for you hard in the chat. Kiss moves in the chat. Everyone's lining their bets up right now. It's like bet Lord King.
Bro, kiss move. Let kiss move. Get your cameras ready. Get your popcorn.
Oh, man, you cut out Lord King. You still with us? Are the bets overwhelming? The chat.
I don't know why Kids Move is chiming in on anything when he knows that he is toast. What he can really do is get his gaming up. What I'm gonna tell Kiss Move is, Kiss Move, look at my timeline. Look at how much time I put in playing in live. 0. I'm gonna come fresh face you. All right, I'm gonna fresh face you. I'm gonna freestyle all over you, and that's part of the law. I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm not gonna look at it. I don't know what the buttons are. I'm gonna freestyle all over you, beat you, and you're gonna buy me a game that I'm gonna get better at and beat you constantly.
Welcome to
Iron Lord Betting Podcast. All the bets here.
I'm gonna freestyle all over you. I'm coming off the top.
Let's get back on track.
We film live only in Vegas, apparently.
And I think he's got a good point. And me personally, I'll answer it. Yeah, I think this guy doesn't really have any leg to stand on to even be commenting about anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he really needs to fall back. You know, especially
I don't know how long did DayZ?
Yeah, how long did DayZ take to come out? Anybody know? Like,
it's not even out. It's
still not out. Still not. Stop it,
yes, sir.
I did not.
It's been in preview for 4 or 5 years.
Here's the thing, though. If he had commented on the aforementioned DLC that came out, Scorched Earth, I could kind of understand that, right? Yeah. Because as much as I'll defend it, because you know I love the game and the DLC is worth it to me, I get why people complain about it. I always have. So I would understand why he would make a comment on that. But jacking up the game, I mean, it's going to be an official full game. So it would only make sense to charge that price, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, again, I mean, I think the law's in agreement with this. Like that, to me, unless someone tells me different, like, why as a dev would you even comment on another dev though? Like that's my why are you in your feelings the comment on the next man's
Well,
game.
I'll tell you what I said on Twitter. I don't know if y'all saw it, but I said it must suck to see a game twice as big as yours get successful in twice the time. I mean, in half the time. Yeah, that's got to sting a little bit.
It sounds like professional jealousy. I mean, it just smells like it. And, you know, as much as anybody can say what they want about Ark, and I've even had my hating moments on it, once you guys said release date, is nothing I can say. It's over. Or burying a hatchet, they came through, they delivered on their promise, they gave what the community wanted. There's nothing really you can say. So do need to fall back.
I'll be 100 with you. There's been times where me and Dizzy have both been in chat and we'll be like, oh no, man, it looks kind of rough for Ark right now, bro. I don't know. like we had our doubts at first that it was coming out this year because Dizzy, you know, he was like, I don't know, man, they still got a lot they got to do. I was like, yeah, I know, but you know, you gotta believe in wild card. They get it done when they got it done. So, you know.
Absolutely. So if everyone's arced out, I was gonna move on to the next topic. Dizzy, you good?
Hell yeah, let's go.
My man. So we got Lord Solve up, and you want to talk about a topic I'm really excited to talk about. This is kind of the possible death of single player DLC. Lord Solve, what do you got for us, man?
Yeah, so a little over a week ago, basically there was a Facebook post from this company called Sinclair Networks indicating that they had been working on single player DLC for Mass Effect Andromeda, and that BioWare jumped in and canceled it. Right. BioWare came out and said, we don't know who the hell these people are. This is a hoax. This is a hoax. But what it forced them to do, though, the funny thing is that it forced them to address the issue of not talking about any sort of DLC for Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, if you know, common sense might tell you like they're probably not going to do any single player DLC for this game anyway. It had middling review scores, and the fact that they broke up the team afterwards to serve as support for other games like Battlefront 2, like Anthem, like Need for Speed. They probably don't have the manpower together to actually put together a team to make single player DLC for Mass Effect Andromeda. So what that got me thinking was like, in general, this type of DLC over the past, I would say, 2-3 years has kind of seen a decline, and especially when you're talking about coming back to these big single player games and creating more DLC for it. It just seems like people play the game initially and they move on, and especially in this day and age, you're seeing a lot of games that are getting this DLC be more of the living game, something like a Destiny or something like The Division. Or the MMOs, people are talking a lot about Final Fantasy 14 again and the Stormblood and things like that. So again, the sticking points to those type of games are A, gameplay that keeps people coming back, and B, loot. Loot is the thing that keeps people coming back and engaged when you know that you can play the same mission over and over again, but you'll get better and better gear. This is what brings people back to these games. And obviously these single player games don't have that. So my question to the Lords is, you know, what do these single player games, what have they been doing? What do they need to do to keep people engaged and coming back to those worlds, not necessarily even that game, but those worlds. And another thing that I noticed is Grandpa Nintendo, always late to the game, but it seems to be working for them. Nintendo now has, for the first time ever, especially with Zelda, are incorporating paid DLC into their games. And do we think, especially with the recent drop of the first part of that DLC for Breath of the Wild, do we think it's working for them? And if it is working for them, why is it working for them? What makes their DLC different as opposed to other single player games?
Juicy. Anybody wants to jump in? I got a lot to say, but I want anybody, the Lords to get in next first.
Mine is short.
Go for it.
I think it's kind of stupid to have DLC for single player games. I really don't see the relevance in it. The fact that Nintendo is doing it, Breath of the Wild is candidate for Game of the Year. So you had a rabid fan base that is behind the game that can get so much from playing minuscule parts of the game to add anything extra to it, to the experience. They will purchase it. I myself didn't see the value in that DLC, so I didn't purchase it. I won't purchase it until actually they open up other parts of the map or something of that nature. I don't care for doing trials or anything like that. So that definitely didn't entice me. So, like I said, I vote with my wallet. I didn't see the value. I didn't pick up Andromeda, so again, I wait for it to come to EA Access for free. I don't see the value in a single player DLC. I see it inside an MMO, stuff like Destiny and stuff like that. I see the value there. The value in a closed game. Once you finish these games, like Lord Sovereign said, unless there's a loot factor going back to doing this thing, there's no sense for you to go back into this world to replay and retrace your steps all the way over. Or it doesn't make any sense. I don't see the validity in it, and I don't think it's viable. And yeah, I think it's dying out.
Lord King, let me ask you a quick question before we get to the Lords in. What about like a world that you just fall in love with? Like, there's no game that like you just really fell in love with that world, and
I fell in love with Zelda's world
to get back. And I know, and to your point, you said you're not buying the DLC, even though you love that world.
I love the world, but what was explained to me, or unless the messaging was poor, it's trial based type of things. Like you hit a dungeon and then
right. This first one is more of a Master Trials is not anything story driven. Like
exactly,
I see what you're saying.
So it doesn't add anything to the lore. It doesn't add anything to the story. It doesn't enhance the gameplay from a standpoint that I get in the game and there's a section of the world that's opened up to me that I didn't see.
Now, from my understanding, part 2 is going to do something more along that line. Now, would that interest you?
Yes.
Okay. So your thing is more narrative based. Like if it's a single player experience and it was narrative based from the beginning, then the DLC should go in that same vein. Like you should be a new world to open up. If it's Andromeda, the DLC should have been, this section of the universe was closed to you and it's a story arc that you went over here. Like before, they did that. Remember, they dropped off a DLC before and we went to different spots and different worlds. So it doesn't make any sense if it's DLC for a single player game and they want to isolate you in a room and tell you the bosses is harder. It's kind of stupid. You're not about that bad child.
No.
The funny thing about Zelda, and to speak to his point for a second, I feel Zelda actually has less of that single player stuff, and to me, Zelda to me feels more like that living that living world, even though it is a single player game. To me, I return to Zelda for the advancements they made in the gameplay and the systems they let you play with in Zelda in terms of the stasis and all that stuff.
Right.
So to me, that's more intriguing to go back to.
And intriguing to Dizzy son.
Yeah. He loves it.
He loves it.
So to me, that's more intriguing to go back to. So I kind of think that's why that DLC sort of works for me, because it's just giving you more opportunities to play around with the systems that the game has created. As opposed to just throwing some story stuff on. Obviously, the story stuff is coming later, and I'm sure they'll let you play with the systems also. But to me, like Zelda kind of works in that regard, where it feels kind of like a Destiny or something like that, in that they just want you to play around in that world and give you more of that.
With stuff with the medallion, the map traveling, the things, and opening up treasure. I get you. Lord Zero, I want to get your feedback.
I'm actually kind of in line with King here. To me, it depends on the context of the DLC and what it's going to consist of. So basically, I remember, y'all know how much I like Dark Souls, right?
Yes, sir.
I remember when they first announced the first DLC for Dark Souls 3, The Ashes of Ariandel. They kind of made it look like at first it was going to be mostly a PvP arena kind of thing, which I don't care for in Dark Souls. I'm not about that. So I had completely written it off. And then later on, they showed that it was going to include like a whole new world and new story and everything and like that. And then I was on board again. And so I don't know. For me, like I said, I'm kind of with David on this one. It depends on what it consists of. For a single player game, if it's gonna like just expand the story, that's what I want. That's what I want. That's when I'm gonna need to be on board with it.
I feel. Yeah, I mean, it's a good one. So I'm gonna jump in. Let's Dizzy's back. I'll get Dizzy as well.
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead though.
All right, go Diz. Oh, you want me to jump?
I mean, the whole thing with DLC, like right now, I don't think that it's all about retention. And if your game doesn't have that kind of retention, your DLC is just gonna fail.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's a crappy game, just because you added what you think is cool DLC, people aren't gonna buy it. And for Nintendo, here's the thing with Nintendo, especially for jumping in it's something brand new to them. So DLC might be a little bit more retentive, especially with their kind of franchises. You know, people are a little bit more excited with their franchises than they are for most other franchises.
Right.
It's gonna work for a game like Uncharted. It's gonna work for a game like God of War. If 343 did it for Halo, I imagine it probably would work for Halo.
Oh, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
For a
Fix
lot of
that
other
damn
games,
story,
I can't say that it will do the same for it and everything. And so there's a couple of things you're going to have to look at. Is it going to have the people, if you're going to do for single player, is it going to have the people to have that kind of retention? Is it marked at the right price point? Because not all DLC is going to be equivalent. You know, look at what Bethesda did with Skyrim. They did that what was it called? Hearthstone or something like that.
Hearthstone or whatever. Yeah.
But it was moderately priced. They knew that it wasn't something very impactful. It didn't add a lot of story into it. It added new features and whatnot. And what they did is they drew down the price of it. They were like, you know, we're not going to sell this if it's not at the right price point. Because if they sold it the same way that they sold the other 2 or 3, people aren't going to pick it up just to, you know, go build a house.
Right.
Like, screw that. I'll go get the Sims, you know, at that point. So
here's $30. Go get some Quarry Rock.
Yeah. It's really going to be relying on all of that. The thing with into King's point, the thing with MMOs and open worlds and things that are going to have a lot of people playing with it is going to have retention because everybody's going to be doing it.
Right.
Yep.
You know, Blizzard probably has the best outlook for their game with like Diablo 3.
Yeah.
They just released a new DLC from a game that came out back in 2012, 2011.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
You know,
a minute.
They just dropped a new DLC years later. And my girlfriend, she's a big Diablo 3 lover. She hasn't played it in a while, and now this DLC dropped. I just got her Morrowind for Elder Scrolls, but she wants to pick up this Necromancer DLC.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it looks so
I see
good.
people going crazy about
Yeah, it looks so good. Yeah.
But they changed the way to fit that loot scheme like King was talking about. So now it's a loot-based game, big time loot-based game. So they swapped that up. They added things into there that will kind of change the dynamic of the game, of the way that the single player works. You know, because if it's just a game that is based around that linear story, it better be a damn good story. Otherwise, people are not going to pick it up, especially with that DLC.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. Okay, let's talk.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I think these games are doing. When you spoke about the Uncharted and the God of Wars, even Uncharted, if you think about it, you finish Uncharted 4, and at that point, I don't want to see any Uncharted for quite some time. I'm finishing that. So if you give me a DLC 2 months later that has more Nathan Drake, I'm not going to be too excited. So what you do is that you have whatever DLC you have in the works with different characters in that world, and then you turn it into a solo purchase. And it becomes an extension of that universe. So now with Lost Legacy, it's a game unto itself. It's in that universe. It's in that engine, but it feels new. It feels new.
Right. I feel you. I mean, this is a good one. I wanted to jump in because you really, I'm glad you brought this up, because you got the gears grinding in the mind with this. And I had to check myself. I think I'm like an addict for single player DLC. I looked at my gaming history and I was just like, I noticed if it's a game I'm very passionate about, I just don't care. I'm gonna buy the DLC. I really noticed it. I mean, XCOM is a good example right now. I know they had dropped. I know they got the expansion coming in August with the Chosen stuff. But XCOM 2, I kind of dug up my backlog and I started jumping in that. And I realized since I was gone, they had some Alien Hunter DLC, they had some stuff, and I just sucked that stuff right up. And it kind of revitalized it to me. Now, does every game do it? You know, I do it for no. And I do agree to Lord Dizzy's point that, you know, it has to be compelling content and the retention rate has to be high. I just think that with me, if it's a game that loses me in the world where I'm completely believe this universe. I love it. Like a game like Mass Effect. I remember when Mass Effect 2 and 3, they'd have all these single player one-off DLC.
The Shadow Broker.
Yeah. I love that stuff. So, I mean, maybe it's just my consumerism. I'm just a sucker for this stuff. But I do miss it. I do miss, that companies, when they do it. But I do see also Phil's point, which is getting back to like the death of the single player game in general and how they have to come up with new ways. And maybe, now it's not as profitable. I think in Zelda's case, it's one of those things, to Lord King's point, where, let's be honest, there's not a lot of games out, right, for the system in general as a whole. And, people are starving for content. So maybe for Nintendo's case, it's a game only device. And this is one of their biggest, franchises that the Zelda DLC worked for them, kind of thing. But yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one, Saul, because I love the practice. I hope it doesn't go away. I see games like Witcher, which I still haven't touched in my backlog. I mean, every time I look, it's like Blood and Wine and this and it's all these single
yeah, they had 1,000 of them.
It's like I'm dreading going back, hitting that in my backlog because I already know.
That's a game I feel like, not to cut you off, I feel like they did too much for their own good. Honestly, I really do.
They should have just released it all at one time.
Right. Because I want to go back and play it, but the game's intimidating, and I don't want to get sucked up into that.
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I look at it, and I'm like, I gotta buy these 5 things.
Right.
Like, I'm intimidated. Like, I'm too far removed from it. So that kind of thing. But I understand what you're saying. It's a good one. I mean, ideally, I would hope, the practice does continue for people.
I thought theirs was free.
Oh, no,
sir. No.
Oh, so then when I purchased it, I must have purchased the big shebang box.
Yeah, you got the Super Deluxe with extra
right. I
cheese.
didn't listen. I didn't know because I thought it just said stuff is in the store, and it was like, oh, install it. So I swear I thought it was free. So when you said purchase, I was like, purchase.
Yeah, if you bought the deluxe edition, it came with everything. So people assumed it was just whatever additional DLC. But when it came out that each one of those DLCs is essentially a game unto itself, that's how big they are. Like people were really excited because it's like, really, you're giving us all this content. So it is a very intimidating game, especially if you stop playing and you go back.
The play mechanics and getting back into the flow of the game, that's
no doubt. So that's what I got on it. If any of the lords got any more to talk about single player before we move on, we are good.
I mean, I'm with you on this. I hope it doesn't stop, but I honestly see it happening sooner or later. Yeah. Unfortunately, and I feel like it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
I think like what we said. I hope they start packaging it differently and just whatever. Like take a year and give me something in that world, not necessarily with those main characters. Give me a compelling reason to go back to that world, because I mean, when you look at games like GTA 5, not giving that single player DLC that they had initially promised, when they start when Rockstar starts looking different ways, then you have to start looking at where the industry is going, because they're so big. So
and to your point, this is what Phil's been talking about, right? Like this is it's kind of like the death of the single
what he's been talking about is the death of the single player. And it's not, I gotta stop saying that, because then it's a narrative that we're running with that he didn't really say. Like his basic thing is the development dollars isn't there for that closed off space. And he's seeing the development dollars as being shown, like Lord Dizzy said, it's going in a different avenue, and the avenue is the reoccurring dollar as far as people playing. So I understood that what he was saying, it wasn't like he was cutting this off, but what he's seeing is that there's no return on investment when it comes to a single player game, unless the single player game is a smash.
Okay, you're right. That's exactly what he's saying. And you're right. I don't want to misquote him on that. Like,
because a lot of people was just saying that he's like the death of the first player game, and we got really out of control to the point where I'm like, the man didn't say that. He didn't, and then it forces him not to say things because it's always taken and twisted and bent to a weird degree.
No doubt. Shout out to my lord out here in the chat, the Winter Soldiers in here. That's my dude. Yeah, he's
What's
making a
going
good
on,
point.
Soldier?
He's like on games like Gears of War 4, Quantum Break. He's like he really wished they had story DLC. He said, Gears 4 has been pretty much all multiplayer, and Quantum Break needed to give Beth Wilder story some closure. So I agree with him in his standpoint, because like Lord Zero saying, it's like for some games that you're really passionate about and they have great worlds, you would like, instead of it just being all multiplayer DLC, you know what I'm saying? Like you would like some little story.
I was looking forward to that Record DLC. Nobody?
Yeah,
Nobody?
so am I. I want that.
There's an extra robot that we haven't gotten yet. Like,
Right.
I've been looking. Yo, listen. I thought I was seriously. I thought I was the only one.
No, bro. No, I want my damn tank bot, and they still haven't released it.
Right.
I'm ticked about that.
And to speak, to the original, like the Mass Effect Andromeda thing, that's a game that could have benefited from excellent DLC, lifting up the general public.
Exactly. Think about how beneficial. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I cooled off Andromeda a little bit. It's not that the game was terrible. It was just always a lot of stuff was going on, and as it started to get better. But like, my thing is, you could have got me back if they buy away. They'd be like, "Yo, we got the Quarians." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got, what's my man Thane? What's his race? The Drells.
The Drell.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they'd be like, "Yo, Drell DLC. We found the pod, the thing where they at. What you call the arc where they at or whatever." I'm in. You know what I'm saying? And it just sad, like, because of what's happened, now we hear. I was kind of hoping that rumor was true, Sav. Like when you broke that down, I was like, man, that's not true. That's a hope. Did
y'all ever finish Andromeda?
No, I did not. I didn't get a chance to finish it yet.
Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending is left so open-ended too that DLC would have benefited it even more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would be completely honest with you.
Especially that game with its history, right? Like Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, they had
I'll find out on EA Access.
This is true.
You heathen.
Listen, I paid $5 for a reason. All right? Yo, I didn't buy Battlefield 1, and they just announced it for me. They was like,
what? You know what? Shout out to you, Lord T, because I should have waited. My gut said, do not buy it and wait. And when they announced it, I was so salty when they announced Titanfall.
I got Battlefield for free, bro. I won't.
Listen, I purchased Titanfall too. All right, so there. Okay,
right.
All right.
Let's finish this up and move on to the next one, Lord King. You've got a juicy one. We've got a lot of things from Lord King. We got the Xbox One X Benchmarks.
Yeah, that's.
We got Terry Crews. We got a lot to talk. Bring it to the round table. What you got?
Okay, so I'm going to end on a high note with the benchmarks. I want to just, a general statement. Do you guys notice that anytime Xbox has an exclusive game or a game that's ambiguous when it comes to exclusivity, that PlayStation wants to attach their name to it? Like, Cuphead is a fantastic game. It looks marvelous. It plays like butter, like a dream.
Love the art style.
And the game is finally coming. We finally got a release date. It's finally almost here. We got to wait till September. I mean, I'm chomping at the bit for this game. And then I look on message boards and it was like, it's coming to PlayStation 4. Like, and it's not. It's not. The devil is like, no.
That whole story came out of the blue. It just showed up. Go ahead, sorry.
And my thing is, I mean, are y'all upset with this? At any time that we have any type of, I mean, the place that you don't hear us saying God of War coming to Xbox One. Like, we don't attach our name to Days Gone and say yo we had Days Gone is on Xbox X. We sorry.
It's time exclusive.
Yeah, it's just, and every time they always want to either attach their name to a game or try to take the luster away from an exclusive rollout, or do what they do best, steal our footage and claim it as their own.
I knew that.
Jesus Christ, King.
I knew that was good.
I mean, it's not the first time they did it. I can see I can see if it's like, oh, my bad, first time. But this is not. It's not even the first time. It was bad Photoshop on top of stuff. And it's just like, when is enough? Like, I've never seen somebody winning so paranoid and so afraid of the loser that they have to resort to these type of ridiculous tactics, and it's not coincidence. You understand? This is
Didn't
not
you hear
a
though,
mistake.
King? That was EA's fault. It had nothing to do with Sony at all. Nothing
Bull
to do with
crap. You know, bull crap.
Yeah, man.
They had
I hear
nothing to
you.
do with it.
I hear you. I mean, if the laws want to jump in, I got some stuff to say on this too. But
Hell,
I
I
mean,
forgot the topic. I was laughing too hard.
yeah,
So
no,
anyway,
my thing, I think there's some truth to it. I think, Kings. I mean, listen, majority of the lords here are Xbox is our preference platform, right? And the only thing I will say that I really 1,000 agree with Lord King is that, you know, when you look at stuff like the Rise of the Tomb Raider fiasco, you know what I'm saying? And people were crying from the heavens that this is, you know, unjust and this is not fair to the PlayStation community. And I'm of the mindset that, look, you know, exclusives are part of the game. Whether we like it or not, that is what drives someone to someone's platform. So if someone put the money down, regardless of how I feel about it, they deserve the right to have that exclusivity right. So when you hear it, I do agree with Lord King from a standpoint of that PlayStation is the market leader, right? They're dominating in the sales, they're winning, you know, they have the install base. But I notice a lot of the community, and I'll say no names, but they get in their feelings if something is confirmed as an Xbox exclusive.
yes.
And then all of a sudden you hear the soapboxes of why is this not coming to PlayStation? This is not. Well, meanwhile, I didn't hear a peep from anyone when Street Fighter V was announced for PlayStation and Xbox. I didn't see the petitions. I didn't see, you know what I mean? Just that same fervor and energy when the exclusivity falls on that side. You know what I mean? Because they're the market leader. So I just, to me, it's a whole bunch of hypocrisy.
You get a more recent example too. People lost their goddamn mind when Crash Bandicoot leaked to come for Xbox soon. People lost their goddamn mind on Twitter, which I didn't understand.
Yeah, that's the part of the game I don't like. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, come on, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Come on, everybody. We get it. You know what I'm saying?
And I would like to say Crash Bandicoot 4K 60 frames per second. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Absolutely.
Because on the Pro is doing what? Checkerboard in 30 frames? Sorry for jumping in.
Yeah. Checker 30. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Zero.
No, my thing is going back to the original Cuphead thing. The devs who made the game said when it was first announced that it was never coming to PlayStation. So where did this come from? That was years ago.
Right.
So like
I guess it's
pulling this out of nowhere.
Yeah, now that we have an official release date, it's coming. And then, you know, it's just like anything else. I mean, I'm Xbox guy. I see stuff like Horizon. I see certain stuff that I'm just like, wow, that looks really good. But if I want it, then I need to go out there and pick up, you know what I'm saying, a PlayStation.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you want Cuphead, you need to go out and you need to pick up an Xbox and so forth. And the same thing with Battlegrounds, right? Wasn't that a point of contention? When, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So it's like, no, it's exclusive, and that's part of the deal.
It's like what, like a year or two back when I had my PlayStation and I wanted to play Bloodborne. I didn't whine that it wasn't coming to one. I picked it up on the goddamn PlayStation because that's where it was coming.
Yeah, pick it up. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And that, to me, exclusives drive the business. Is it anti-consumer? I guess you can say technically, but that helps it helps a platform drive business and uniqueness. It makes you go to that console. You have this. The only game right now for PlayStation, I'm gonna tell you, when I get a release date for it, that really got me like, and Lord King, is that Detroit. Now Detroit became human. I'm gonna have to call up my boy, you know, Lord Ybarra, and I have to call, and the other game would be Shenmue. Those are the only two games that emotionally move me to the point where I'm like, okay, can't wait on that one. You know what I'm saying? I got to jump in. But that's part of the game, you know? But what do you think about it, DayZ?
Lord, stop.
To be honest, to be honest with you, I really didn't even know that was the thing until I saw it coming across my Twitter feed. And honestly, I think that there was a lot of PlayStation guys that didn't even know that was the thing. Most of the people that responded to my Twitter, they're like, "Yeah, I don't really know where this came from." It's just weird. It really is. I don't know how else to explain it, because it's just one of those weird things. Like, I mean, I don't think that it's not a problem to be a fanboy, but it's a problem to be a fanatic. And I think that there's an issue there. There should be a separation. Like I know the fanboy gets tossed around as like the acronym that everybody uses to call each other. Let's separate that. Fanboy, fanatic. There are fanatics out there, and they will say anything. It's just like every single time that a Halo game drops, within a month or two, this is going to be coming to PlayStation. Oh my God, you got to read this. This is so true.
So true. So true.
Right.
And to your point, not to cut you, that's a great point, because remember the whole narrative in the beginning, well, it's not a real exclusive because it's on PC. And at that time, there was nothing announced for PlayStation, being on PC. But as we hear now with PS Now being announced, and we're seeing PS4 titles
on PC.
On PS Now, which is technically on PC. So it's just funny how the narrative changes sometimes.
It's always to fit your own narrative. And the second that your narrative works against you, you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Biggest problem.
I describe it as weird. There's nothing more that I could say to it. To me, it's just it's awkward. It's weird.
Right. What you got?
It's that sense of entitlement that you get when you're winning. When you're winning, you feel like, no, it needs to come. Why would it be on there? It's just going to die.
Somebody give this man a medal.
Amen.
Again, if it is true that the developer said that it was exclusive years ago, then maybe nobody jumped at anything, because years ago there was more parity in terms of PlayStation and Xbox. We were still, now 4 or 5 years, 4 years removed from that, PlayStation has a considerable lead. So the people who are quote unquote fanatics or fanboys, they feel everything needs to come to them. Period. But it is sort of weird because this game in particular, more so than other like graphically intensive games, this is a game that is on PC. Like again, the argument was made before that, all you need, the argument against Xbox that you don't need an Xbox, all you need is a decent PC and a PS4 and you're covered. Well then, this is a game that can run probably on the most middling of systems. Like honestly, it's going to get to a vast majority of people who follow that narrative and have a PS4 and probably have a PC should be able to play this game without too much of a problem. So it's a weird argument to make, and it just comes from entitlement, and it's annoying to listen to be honest.
Absolutely. Now, Lord King, you had a couple other things you wanted to jump in. Now
the next thing is the Overwatch. Now,
hold on, real quick. Hold on, before you start on that, I just want to get this out there. My biggest problem with all this stuff that happens with the exclusives and everything, I want to put it out there. I don't care so much for the fans saying what the fans do, because look, if you like a sport, like I used to watch wrestling all the goddamn time during the Attitude Era, right? And even when like Stone Cold, for instance, was the bad guy, right? He was the bad guy. I would root for him because he was fucking cool, right? That was your dude. You backed him up when you watched it and everything. And you're like that with your sports teams, right? My biggest issue with all this stuff going on is the absolute incompetence of the media and the hypersensitivity that everybody has nowadays. That's my biggest issue, because you can tell sometimes when you read articles or watch videos about things, people just don't do the goddamn research anymore nowadays, because all this same stuff happened last year. Like Xbox people would complain when a PlayStation exclusive didn't come to Xbox last year because they felt entitled, just like Lord Tom said. But the thing is, it's out in the forefront more nowadays because the media is making it that way, and people are more sensitive to stuff nowadays. And that's not just in gaming media or anything. That's just in general.
That's a good point.
I feel like that's the biggest problem now, because fans are going to be fans. That's you're a fan. That's what you do. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point, man. Definitely piggybacking on what everybody said. So, Lord King, you said, what was the other two? I'm sorry. We had cut you
okay. Well, the next one was Overwatch. I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with the characters of Overwatch, but for a long time now, like from actually the release of the game, they've been talking about Doomfist. Now, he's been referenced in the game. The fist has been taken out of the case, and he's supposed to be coming. And for a long time, Terry Crews' voice has been linked to it. In background discussions, Terry Crews has been part of the whole narrative of Doomfist. So it was automatically assumed that when Doomfist ever showed up eventually, because he was going to show up, that because they was working on the character, balancing the character and stuff like that, that Terry Crews would voice the character. Now, to people's shock and dismay, the character came out, and when he spoke, it wasn't Terry Crews. So, to people's shock and dismay, at Xbox E3 show, when it showed Crackdown, we was like, why is Terry Crews here? And he's the voice of the main agent in the game. And they had a whole big commercial for him. I mean, the commercials that's running for Crackdown is Terry Crews basically bring the boom, your boom, let your boom speak, or whatever the hell it is. And
dropping buildings.
Yes, I mean, I thought it was a little bit of overkill, and I really didn't think they needed him. I thought they spent the budget on Terry Crews, to be honest. But my thing is, did Terry Crews screw himself out of Doomfist, or did they just bump him out because the money wasn't there to make him Doomfist, and he went over to Crackdown? Or did they
quote what you said earlier? It was a bait and switch, my friend. I don't think Terry Crews was ever going to be the voice. I don't think that at all. I think what they did is they got that hype to generate hype for the character. That's what they did. It's dirty. It's dirty, but it worked because people were excited for the character.
Blizzard's not about spending that money. Not on that anyway. They're not going to spend money on that. Not Blizzard.
Yeah, but were you fooled? Because I was thoroughly fooled. I was really fooled. I was really, because you know what? My thing was, I didn't jump on the initial bandwagon because remember, it was Overwatch and it was another game that came out at the same time. And it was the same ilk. And that other game, I forgot the name of it, and I'm not doing it any justice, and I do apologize. Anchorman or somebody else in the chat. Thank you. The Battleborn. All right. Those two games came out neck and neck. It's like if you release two fighting games at one time, you wanted to do was the best.
You gotta make a choice.
Right. And okay, Blizzard won, obviously. And their Overwatch became the thing. Now, by the time it became the thing, I wasn't playing. You know, if you jump on right now, these guys tear you up.
It's hardcore out there,
right? Yep. So they already know they combos. They already know who's running. If you're running with a team, who's supposed to. So really, I'm at a disadvantage. So I said, okay, well, when Doomfist comes out, because I like Terry Crews, I said I'll jump in. I'll be Doomfist, and then people will be learning Doomfist, and I can learn. I was so dismayed that he wasn't Doomfist that I didn't purchase.
See, I never thought that was going to happen though, because you don't play Overwatch to hear the characters talk. You just don't. Right. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, especially Anchor, because I know he's going to be in the chat. But the other characters, they don't have any like big noteworthy voice actors, do they?
No, none of them. That's why I was amazed that he was going to be doing it.
That whole thing just seemed like a weird anomaly to me, and it just didn't make sense for that to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just like what you're saying. I mean, it definitely could be a little bait and switch tactic, generate hype for the character, and you know, ultimately the good thing is at least Terry's able to land on his feet because it seemed like he's a hardcore gamer, right? He's really involved with this stuff. You know, he said gaming to connect with his son, and you know, to be honest, I mean, I was happy that according to King they blew the budget on Terry Crews for Crackdown. I thought the game needed personality. That was my only thing.
As soon as he showed up on the TV, bro, like I was macking out. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh shit, it's Crews.
I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. Now you getting me emotionally invested because there's something about that game. I'm just not emotionally invested.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that I felt was big. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we got Terry in there. He's hyping it up. He's gonna get you, you know, through the missions, yada yada yada. And yeah, man. I mean, this voice acting game is tough out here, man. Tough for these streets. You know,
I was sitting there watching that Crackdown trailer, going, and they easy being cheesy from the longest shot. I love Terry Crews, bro.
No, real quick, I want to jump on your first one because I did forget. I think we talked over the benchmarks, right? You wanted to talk about the
benchmark. Yeah,
it looked good, man. It looked good from what I've seen. I mean, to me, the biggest announcement for me personally, Halo 5.
Well, what it
Yes,
was
sir.
is we didn't even get to the benchmarks. Remember, I was saving that for the last.
Yeah, but you go get to it. Get to
All
it.
right, yeah, because it's time. All right,
gotta
all right.
keep
So
it moving.
Xbox recently, Digital Foundry recently released that their white paper, and the white paper that they weren't able to talk about before. It was basically a broad spectrum of I think it was like 10 games that they took, open world racing, and they didn't give you the names of the games, but they gave you the benchmarks of the games, and it showed how they work in actual real environments on the old XDKs or XDXs now that they're called for the Xbox One, and they showed how the game performed using the Xbox One X and in that environment, and what was the gains and what was the pitfalls in said games, and it showed gains across the boards on all of the games, and that wasn't even optimized to the XDXs for the Xbox Ones. And my thing is, being that it wasn't optimized yet, and they showed complete gains across the board, that it was blowing it out the water. What was your views on it? How did you feel about it? Did anybody see the white papers? And did y'all listen to Digital Foundries when they was telling you that it was like 60% of usage of utilization without optimization? And what's going to come when we actually get this product in our household, when the games are optimized for it, because they were current gen titles that were AAA titles.
Right.
Yeah. Losar, you want to jump in? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I think what it speaks to is the ease of porting these games over to the X, and the fact that I think Microsoft is going to do everything in their power to make sure that they optimize all of these games. And I'm talking about not necessarily obviously the first person stuff. They're going to make sure that they optimize these games to the fullest to make sure that they get every ounce of power they can out of that X with existing games. I also think they're going to go out of their way to help third parties make sure that their games are optimized, even if the third party doesn't want to invest the money into it. I think with their performance analyzer, and I think with the hands-on that they've exhibited, that they're willing to go with in terms of the X, I just think that they're not going to allow a game to move to the system unoptimized, even if the developer themselves doesn't want to invest in it, or they think it's not worth the investment for the improvement they're going to get. I think Microsoft is going to pick up that slack, because that, to me, if you look at arguments that people are having now about, why upgrade to the X, what's the big difference? I think Microsoft hears that, and they realize that they really need to step up on their end to make sure that those differences are seen.
Right.
So just speaking to what you like raw numbers, yeah, I mean, obviously it's very impressive. And again, Richard Ledbetter made it clear that these are not in-game optimizations. This is not true. It's not what he's meaning, that it's not gameplay optimizations. That they're not in a gameplay environment. It's just like standard tech to tech, moving tech over. So obviously those numbers are going to skew differently once you get all the systems within the game running. But that said, the amount of overhead left once it's moved to the Xbox One X is impressive. It's impressive because that there's so much more you can do with it. So I think Microsoft's going to do everything in their power to make sure that every single game is as optimized as it possibly can be. Will it be a slow process? Yeah, maybe. But I think they have no choice but to do that to convince people why the X is worth the purchase. So that's right.
Right.
Fair enough. Did you get a chance to catch any of that Richard Ledbetter?
To be honest, since E3, I really haven't cared too much about the benchmarks. I'm excited for the One X when it comes out. I want to see it, happen out in front of me.
I feel you.
Until then, everything is all speculation and just hearsay. So until we see it working in front of us, that's just my standpoint on it.
Any excitement, real quick, Dizzy? Any excitement about the recent announcement of Halo 5 getting the X treatment?
No, I didn't like Halo 5. I'll be honest with you. No.
That's nothing but
it doesn't give me any incentive to go back and play it and everything just because it looks pretty. I've always said that. if it looks pretty cool, but it has to be compelling enough. Like, I'm sorry, like I haven't felt that compelled to go back and play another Halo since Halo Reach. So
I feel you.
Right.
But we won't be complaining about that Ark treatment, will we?
oh no. I respect
you.
Yeah.
That's a man that is loyal to his craft, and I respect that. No
But
doubt.
I think it's just, I think the fun of it is just going through, like we spoke about a couple weeks ago, the fact that, you know, anything you have on Steam, when you get a new computer with a new GPU, I just like to go back and see how
Me
it
too.
runs. Like,
I'm
I would
with you,
love to go back
Sob.
and
I'm
see
with you
that.
because I'm literally holding back on playing Gears 4 right now.
I hear you.
I haven't really touched the campaign. Like, there's a couple of games I'm sitting there. I'm like, nope, I know that's gonna get the treatment. I fell back on Titanfall. I'm like, ooh, I know you're gonna get a nice little shiny paint on
Everybody held back on Titanfall.
I'm pretty sure that I did that for Witcher 3.
Everybody but me.
No, I got Titanfall too. I fell for it too.
Yo,
Yeah,
I was mad as hell.
Like I told you yesterday, Lord Cognito, I have a damn near 500 game pile of shame. 500 game pile of shame.
yeah, it's the backlog is real.
Then I'm excited to go back and see what the X can do with it. Like, I just want to
Exactly.
see.
And shout out to Lord Zero, Lord Sovereign, we're part of that KS8000.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I know Lord King, he's stepping it up on us, you know, but OLED status. But I'm excited to just see this stuff, you know, and finally max my TV in true native and to see what that's about. So again, for a person like me, like I get geeked out when I hear like Halo 5 is gonna get treatment or whatever. I'm not geeked out for my hard drive on 4K assets, but
That's why I'm so mad with my PlayStation Pro, because I got a 4K television.
Yeah, that's it.
They stuff ain't even using it.
True, but we, as X fans, we got to keep it fair. We down with the checkerboard too, fam.
No. I'm cool with the checkerboard. You know what? I teased them with the checkerboard. I was on that. But give me games that actually run checkerboard. You know what? If all your games did checkerboard, okay, I'm down with that. But you know, there's a lot of games that come out that just not 4K, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's just like they like, well, you brought a Pro for no reason. Like,
use boost mode. Use the boost mode.
yeah, like put it in boost. And then sometimes your boost blacks out and it could brick your system. Yeah, like
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm happy that Microsoft is taking this proactive decision, making sure every game is gonna come across and be viable for your new purchase.
No doubt. So I know we've been going on. We had a lot to talk about. Lord's will wait for a bit. But if anybody else got anything to say before we wrap this thing up as far as benchmarks and anything else? Go ahead, Lozo.
Oh, go ahead. No, I had another topic I wanted to talk about. We have time. It's just a short one, though.
All right, go for it.
Nothing too big. I wanted to get everybody's opinion on when you buy a game that includes a season pass, how long is it acceptable to wait until you see that DLC? That is included in that season pass.
That's a good question. So let's say you buy a season pass for a game, and you're saying how long,
right?
Is it acceptable? Like, give me an example.
To wait, because here's the thing, and here's where I'm coming from, and it's not coming at anybody's neck, I promise. Because I know it might be sensitive to some people, but I bought the full game and season pass for both Injustice and Tekken, right?
Right.
And I have seen none of the DLC from Tekken yet.
Okay.
And I'm not okay with that. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, because Injustice tomorrow night is their second character already. And I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen anything. They just announced Tekken Bowl, but even that you have to pay separately.
Are you serious?
It might be included. Yeah, it might be included in the season pass.
Okay.
They didn't say.
Okay.
But if it's in the season pass and you don't have it, you still have to pay for it.
Okay,
which is ridiculous to me.
I got an answer. My thought process on it, and I know Anchorman not gonna feel this, is when you announce a season pass, I need to have an outline of what you think you are going to provide.
Yeah, not the fallout way.
Yeah, I cannot go on. I mean, there's times. Listen, Tekken, I fell victim to it. I'm a Tekken nut. I bought it without question. That's my own fault. I'm the victim of whatever effery that happens going forward.
Well, here's the thing
Because-
with Tekken 7 though is not to cut you off, but the season pass they said they're going to release characters, game modes, and all that stuff.
did.
They gave you a blueprint, but the thing is, you purchased the game came out, and they haven't said a word about it yet.
Right, and again, it still was a kind of let's call a spade a spade. It still was kind of a murky blueprint, right? It was kind of like,
Right.
yeah, we're gonna give you some characters, we're gonna like. There was no definitive thing. Like I like when games like Injustice actually get. You know, what I give credit, like. Shout out to Lord King, the Division. Like, at least, it was like, okay, you're going to get this, then you're going to get the final stand, and you're going to get whatever the names of the joints were.
Right.
At least give me a name, a template, a placeholder, right? So then I don't even got to be mad. You don't even got to give me the date. You can say spring, you can say fall. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. Just so I got an idea. Okay, that's coming, this, that, and other. But when it's like, yo, trust us. It's gonna be
and I'm with you on that.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a beautiful wall. We're gonna build a wall. It's gonna be great.
It's like and I gotta come for Fallout on this. And we're gonna take it. This like I'm not with the how we do,
right?
and just buy it, and you gonna see it's lit. Like nah, I'm not. That,
See, and it's because of that I never bought the season pass for Fallout when I didn't do it. And I'm kind of regretting doing it for
the deluxe edition that had this. I needed already. So Edgar laughed at me. But on principle alone, if I would have just bought the regular game, no, I was not buying that because you got to give me an outlet. You got to give me an outlet.
I purchased when they put the gun to the head and said tomorrow it'll be $60 if you don't buy it for $30.
Oh my God! Remember that?
I'm jumping in
started on that
right now, baby.
Absolutely. But what are the rest of the Lords feeling? That's a good one. That's a good one, Zero.
Yeah, anybody hop in on that. I can go on.
It's like what we were talking about before. Like it depends on how long I'm willing to stay engaged in that world. So like for a fighting game, definitely I want those characters as soon as possible. I mean, if you look at what Street Fighter V did, like they were handing them out piecemeal, like one every 6 months or something like that. That was just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's about how willing I am to come back to that world. I agree that I need an outline. And I did the same thing as Lord King did with the gun to the head with the Fallout. I did it because I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Damn crooks.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's a gangster way to do your what you call it though. That's a good get down and lay down. I think that was the best get down and lay down I've ever seen with a DLC.
I still never bought it.
They stuck the knife in and they twisted, and
you ain't gonna buy it now for whatever to double the price.
You're right. As soon as they decided that they were going to go that route, I said, no, fuck this game. They're not getting my money. No matter what, I don't care.
I feel you. I was already heavily invested, and I was on the fence, and that's a great push them into the water or pull them over the fence, and I just had to jump into that water because they said tomorrow is going to be double.
Right.
So I would rather mess up cheaply than mess up doubly. So whatever, bro.
Great marketing tactic. Yeah. We'll say that. Great marketing tactic. But if all the Lords got it, I know we've gone over a little bit. We got a lot to talk
get out of here. I gotta go
Mr. Week. But we're gonna wrap this thing up and shout out to Lord Zero and it coming through OG status. Like that was love. We love that, you know what I'm saying? But we gotta give a shout out to, of course, our man, Lord Dizzy. Playback gaming in these streets. What can we look forward to? Talk to me.
Well, thank you once again for having me over here. It's an awesome thing to be an honorary Lord, and it sounds like I got a little Lord over here that wants to speak with y'all too. Yeah, you can also catch me over on Planet Xbox with Kid Smooth. That's every Tuesday night.
Sure.
We've been doing that for probably about a month, maybe a month and a half now. Really fun time and everything. We actually have a new writer, well, a newer writer. If anybody's seen Panda, we call it Panda. She's a constant writer over here at Playback Gaming and everything, so she has a lot of great content, making a lot of friends over in the indie developer area.
Yes, she's the
she's
indie
also going to
queen,
be on there.
as I have
She is
crowned her.
an indie queen. Yes. Yes, like Nicodemus likes to call himself the king of indies. She would be the queen of indies.
Yes.
So yeah, you'll be able to catch us both over there on Planet Xbox. This Wednesday we do have another After Hours podcast. I know it's been a little while, but we will be coming back with that, talking about more topics about the whole nerdy section of life. But yeah, tune in. You can follow me over at Twitter at iDizzy81.
Nice.
You can try to follow me on Xbox. I may add you back. I'm very secretive. I have to be as an Ark gamer.
I understand the life. I understand.
And also be sure to check out playbackgaming.net for some of the unknown gaming news that you'll see.
No doubt, no doubt, and much appreciated for coming through this long overdue. One of our biggest supporters from the jump. You know, Playback has helped Iron Lord Podcast in so many ways as a platform. I always appreciate you, bro, and look forward to seeing what you guys got cooking up. And shout out to, like you said, Lady Panda. Oh, she's killing it right now. The queen of indies.
Oh, yeah.
Or Zero with them articles. Everybody that's contributing. You know what I'm saying? I really respect that. And yeah, the round table. We're gonna close this out. So Lord Stav, where can the fine people find you?
Yeah, fine people can find me on Xbox Live at BX Sovereign, PSN BX Sovereign, one word, and on Twitter, Lord Stav ILP. And a big shout out to DayZ and Lord Zero for coming through today. Really appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. And of course, the XS Gamer himself, Lord King. Where can the fine people find you?
Y'all can find me everywhere. Y'all already know where I'm at on those platforms. I just like to say shout out to Lord SWAT. The logo and everything is done. The t-shirts should be up in a minute after the plane propeller and stuff go. Then I can tell y'all exactly what's going on. All right, so anyway, the t-shirts and logos and stuff is up. Soon we'll have the t-shirts ready, hats, cups that y'all can purchase to show y'all Iron Lord's love. And it would be greatly appreciated. So whenever you're out at these functions, we know that you're down with our podcast.
No doubt. And Lord Zero, I know you've been a working man, but where can the fine people find you?
Yes, sir.
When you're not incognito like Cognito.
You can find me on Xbox Live at Lord Zero ILP. Finally changed that gamer tag, got it up to snuff. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Zero. Make sure to follow Playback Gaming. Later today or tomorrow, I should have an article up talking about the games coming to ESL. Nice. They just recently announced that Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is going to be featured, as well as Dragon Ball Fighters and Injustice. So I'm going to do a write-up on that, if anybody's interested.
No doubt. And of course, it is Lord Cognito here. We give you that gaming realness every week. We appreciate the support, the likes, all that good stuff. I want to shout out Lord Sinister because he's been out in these Twitch and Mixer streets. He's been streaming.
He's been streaming, bro.
He's been streaming hard, y'all. Please support his channel. I believe it's Sinister X2 on Twitch and on Mixer. We're gonna be doing a lot of that, a lot of co-streaming. It's kind of a prep before Destiny2. So he's on that. Check him out. Check his Twitter out. Really does good content over there. We're gonna be getting that bubbling. And of course, like I said, shout out to Playback. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to have the fam in the building, supporting and all that good stuff. And of course, Lord Cognito here. I'm Lord Cognito now on Xbox Live. No longer just Cognito there. So it's Lord. Shout out to Winter Soldier in the chat. Chat was lit, y'all. I want to shout out the chat today. Chat had me rolling. Chat was lit. Love that. Please click that like button, subscribe, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, all that good stuff, man. And we're still the best podcast you've never heard. And one last shout out I want to give out is salute to the TXR podcast. I know those guys kind of, you know, the Voltron Lions broke up. Let's just say that. But we respect all of them, you know, Inferno, Rain, all these guys that come on the show and always showing support. And yeah, man, we're gonna miss you guys. And like I said, hopefully you guys can move on to the next endeavor, whatever you do. And also support these Iron Lords, man. We out here. And on that note, we're gonna wrap this thing up. And peace.
All right.